With 2 weeks to the governorship elections in Bayelsa and Kogi states, the chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, has raised a fresh alarm over what he described as the mobilization of thugs from within and outside both states to disrupt the polls. He raised the alarm on Friday at a meeting with security agencies ahead of the elections in both states. Our correspondent, Anitie Patrick, has more.
This quarterly meeting with the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security is coming 2 weeks to the governorship election in Bayelsa and Kogi states. Traditionally, both states remain a big heartache for INEC in terms of security. The last time both states held governorship elections, the polls were not concluded at the first ballot. The INEC chairman says hotspots have been identified in the two states. He adds that the police have guaranteed the safety of electoral officials and materials.
In the last 2 weeks, the Commission met a couple of times with the leadership of the Nigeria Police, being the lead agency for election security. At these meetings, we reviewed the situation in Bayelsa and Kogi states and how best to secure the environment to enable the Commission to conduct free and fair elections. Doing so means providing security that will guarantee the safety of voters, protection of INEC officials, both regular and ad hoc staff, unimpeded movement, including access to polling units and collation centers for election officials, accredited polling agents, observers, and the media, effectively and dispassionately dealing with disruptive behavior by some political actors and persons acting on their behalf, enforcement of the restriction of movement in both states on election day, and the prompt arrest and prosecution of offenders. There are already warning signals in the two states. Both are politically volatile. Elections have been severely disrupted in the past by violence. Our own risk assessment, which will be shared with the security agencies at this meeting, has identified some flashpoints. We are also concerned that thugs have been mobilized from within and outside the states with the aim of either influencing the elections or disrupting the process on behalf of partisan sponsors.
The presence of the Inspector General of Police here underlines the fact that these two states' elections are being taken seriously. Over 60,000 police personnel have been deployed for both states.
And we have made adequate provision in terms of personnel and logistics to overcome any security challenge that will manifest. In Bayelsa State, we are deploying about 31,041 personnel to cover the election. In Kogi State, we are deploying about 35,200 personnel to cover the election. These personnel are to cover every terrain in the two states. No doubt will be allowed to be brought from any other adjoining states to these states to disrupt elections. All those areas will be manned. The security of the INEC materials, election materials, are guaranteed by this deployment.
Previous elections in Bayelsa and Kogi states have always been characterized by violence. Signs on the ground in both of them do not indicate that they have turned a new leaf. Professor Yakubu, however, told the security agencies that Nigerians expect that lessons must have been learned from previous elections to ensure a swift security response to the increasing desperation by political actors to disrupt elections and subvert the will of the electorate. Annie T. Patrick, Reporting for Clearview Television.